what do you think about Switzerland banning the burqa? I mean, my opinion is that in the past, I've often thought that we should allow people to dress as they want to dress in a liberal democratic society. I think that the burqa itself is quite insulting to anyone who's not a Christian, sorry, not a Muslim, and particularly to men, because the idea behind the burqa is that, you know, if I were to see a woman's face or to see a woman's body, I would just lose control. You know, like I couldn't control myself. Like I'll rape them, or I'll do something bad. That's the logic of the burqa, which is why in Muslim societies you find in places like Egypt, sexual assault against women on the street is epidemic levels. You know, they have the audacity to lecture us about modesty, but in Egypt, women are harassed on the streets because men follow this narrative that says the burqa is there to protect you against my lust. So if you're not wearing really modest Islamic clothing, therefore you're inviting me to sexually assault you. That is the logic in their minds. That is why sexual assault against Muslim and Christian women in places like Egypt and in other places in the Islamic world is huge. And so I find my attitudes towards things like banning the burqa hardening, and I'm coming on side to the idea that there's nothing wrong with banning the burqa. I wouldn't necessarily, but for me personally, the question would be, why are we banning the burqa? Because if it's kind of punitive, you know, if it's based upon some kind of corporal, you know, collective punishment, or, you know, then I would have a problem with that. But if it's saying actually this is foreign to our Christian culture and it doesn't align with our understanding about the dignity that men and women are made in the image of God, then I could go along with that. But if it's banning the burqa but saying that the miniskirt is fine, then that's when I've got a problem. Or if it's banning the burqa and the cross, that's when I've got a problem. I think for me, I could only go along with it if it was coming from working out of Christian values. Because if you're banning the burqa, why can't we ban the miniskirt? You know, the miniskirt was designed by a British woman for sexual promiscuity. That is actually her intention in designing it. You know, what's the reason? So for me, I'd want to understand why they're banning the burqa. And if it was punitive, if it was some kind of collective punishment, I would definitely be against it. I'd want to understand the rationale. But assuming that the rationale is based on something Christian, I would support it. But then if you're basing banning the burqa on something Christian, my next question would be, so when are we banning the miniskirt? There we go. Let's have a look.